Dragon Ball. Broly is a tiny bit stronger. Chapter 61. Distinguished guests, thank you for waiting. The finals are about to begin. The referee's voice boomed through the loudspeaker. Will the world's strongest be contestant Son Goku, or contestant Ma Jinya? Please welcome both contestants to the ring. Alright, it's my turn. Son Goku stretched his arms and stepped toward the fighting ring. Go, Goku. Krillin cheered loudly for Son Goku. Son Goku nodded. The two quickly stepped onto the fighting ring and faced each other. Are you ready? Piccolo chuckled softly. Ready for what? Son Goku asked indifferently. To prepare to die, of course. Piccolo ripped off his cape and tossed it casually behind him. World Martial Arts Tournament Finals, begin. Son Goku and Piccolo immediately began a fierce confrontation in the ring. Their fists and feet continuously clashed, their figures constantly shifting, leaving behind trails of afterimages in the air. Swish. Piccolo's arm suddenly stretched out like a rubber band, reaching for Son Goku. Son Goku was quick-witted, grabbing Piccolo's arm and violently throwing him into the air. Piccolo was instantly thrown high into the sky by Son Goku. Whoosh. Son Goku shot up into the sky and launched a punch at Piccolo. However, the moment Son Goku approached Piccolo, a powerful burst of energy suddenly erupted from Piccolo's hand. The energy immediately enveloped Son Goku. Boom. Piccolo released another energy blast. Son Goku was struck by the energy blast and fell onto the ring below. Not satisfied, Piccolo hurled energy blasts at Son Goku below as if they were worthless. Son Goku was hit and fell to the ground, leaving a crater in the fighting ring. Piccolo slowly descended from the air and appeared beside Son Goku. He's been knocked down. Start the count. The referee immediately began the countdown. Don't bother counting. Piccolo glanced at the referee. Son Goku is just pretending. This little bit of damage is nothing to him. He. Son Goku grinned and climbed back up from the ground. Not bad. I originally thought Broly was my ultimate opponent, but now it's switched to you. Piccolo revealed a fierce smile. As far as I know, that guy never trains. How can he possibly be a match for us now? Is that so? That's just what you think, isn't it? Son Goku smiled slightly. What? Do you think he has surpassed us now? Piccolo snorted coldly. We two are the strongest beings in this world. Who are they? Let's just continue. Son Goku didn't want to elaborate. The two once again engaged in a fierce battle, their hands clasped together, competing in a test of strength. Suddenly, golden light flashed in Piccolo's eyes. Son Goku reacted instantly, quickly bending down to dodge the energy attack. Bang! Son Goku flicked his feet upward, kicking Piccolo directly on the chin. Piccolo was kicked backward several steps. Swish! Son Goku vanished from the spot in a flash. Piccolo, however, snorted coldly and delivered an elbow strike to the side. Bang! Son Goku was immediately sent flying, crashing headfirst into the wall behind him. Crash! The wall instantly shattered. He's gone. Krillin walked closer to look and cried out in surprise. What? Piccolo was greatly alarmed. Behind you. Son Goku's voice rang out from behind Piccolo. Piccolo's pupils contracted. Bang! Son Goku delivered a kick that struck Piccolo's head. Piccolo flew backward, then pressed his hands down and quickly shot up into the sky. You fool! Piccolo was instantly enraged, his eyes blazing, as he aimed his hands at Son Goku and the ring below. It didn't work. Son Goku gritted his teeth. I'm going to blow you and the entire venue to smithereens. Piccolo roared. Danger! Everyone will be caught in this. Son Goku exclaimed in horror, shouting urgently, everyone, run. What? Master Roshi and the others' expressions changed drastically. Do you need my help? Broly put down his food and asked casually. Son Goku. Not yet. Son Goku's mouth twitched, and he immediately rushed into the sky. Piccolo paused slightly, looking at Son Goku rushing toward him. I'm here. Son Goku shouted. Idiot. Still worrying about protecting others. Piccolo snorted, firing the energy blast in his hand toward Son Goku's location. Son Goku gritted his teeth, waved his large hand forward, striking the energy blast directly and dodging its fatal blow. Rumble. The energy blast smashed into a distant mountain, producing an earth-shattering roar. In the blink of an eye, a massive mushroom cloud rose into the sky. It only grazed him. Piccolo was unwilling to accept this. Son Goku quickly unleashed a ki blast, propelling his body back to the fighting ring. I'm going to return the favor. Take a look at my Super Kamehameha wave. Son Goku gathered energy in his hands, preparing to fire it at Piccolo in the air. Wait! Goku! Master Roshi roared, stop quickly. Son Goku was stunned and temporarily stopped his actions. Don't make a mistake in the heat of the moment. If you kill him, won't Kami disappear too? Master Roshi shouted. That's right. Son Goku gritted his teeth. This is terrible. Ha ha ha. What's wrong? Why aren't you attacking? Piccolo laughed maniacally. You fool. Son Goku was anxiously helpless. HMPH. Your biggest weakness is that you can't be ruthless. You stopped attacking because you were concerned about Kami. Piccolo smiled even brighter. But I have no such concerns, that's the advantage of evil. For example, I could completely wipe out everyone here in an instant. What did you say? Son Goku's face changed color. I'm going to show you all how wonderful the world of hell is. Piccolo's voice was nearly manic, and energy surged wildly from his body. You shameless fool, the one fighting you is me, it has nothing to do with anyone else. Son Goku shouted loudly. Of course, I know that. Piccolo grinned viciously. Still don't need me to step in. Broly pressed again. You're stressing me out. Son Goku. Don't worry, I'll be careful not to kill him. Broly smiled slightly. So, Kami won't die. Then, alright. Son Goku hesitated for a moment, but finally nodded in agreement. However, right at that moment. Wait, the Dragon Ball. Krillin suddenly remembered something and shouted a reminder to Son Goku. Goku, don't we still have the Dragon Ball? If Kami dies, we can still ask Shenron to revive him. That's right. That's a great idea. Son Goku's eyes lit up. Thank you, Krillin. Saying this, Son Goku once again gathered energy. Didn't you just say that if Kami dies, the Dragon Ball will disappear too? Broly looked confused. Son Goku. Son Goku's expression froze, he almost forgot what he was doing. Die. Piccolo shot energy from his hand. The energy blast whistled towards Son Goku below at an extremely high speed. It looks like I can only slightly suppress the energy. Broly, next time, I want to do this myself. Son Goku gritted his teeth in resignation and unleashed the Kamehameha wave. Rumble. The two powerful energies met in the air, exploding with blinding light. Instantly, the energy released by Piccolo was pushed back by Son Goku's Kamehameha wave. Piccolo let out a series of agonizing screams. The smoke gradually dissipated. Piccolo's clothes were shredded, and his turban had vanished. You fool. Piccolo flew into a rage. You made me taste terror for a moment. It's a good thing you're okay. I thought you might die. Son Goku let out a long sigh of relief. Piccolo slowly descended from the air, landing opposite Son Goku, veins throbbing on his forehead from anger. Unforgivable. I will tear you to shreds. Piccolo was genuinely furious. Son Goku, however, looked at Piccolo with a calm expression. Contestant Son Goku's attack was truly formidable. The referee's voice rang out. But contestant Majiniya actually withstood it. Only his clothes were damaged. Son Goku, you are indeed impressive. Piccolo took a deep breath, trying to calm himself down, and scoffed at Son Goku. But you need to be careful of this next move. What? Son Goku was momentarily stunned. Piccolo let out a series of shouts, and his body rapidly grew larger. In just an instant, Piccolo transformed into a giant 8 meters tall. Son Goku was greatly astonished. The audience members present were all stunned. How did this match become so increasingly thrilling? Many spectators had even quietly left the stands, running far away, afraid of being affected. Die. Piccolo waved his massive hand and smashed a fist towards Son Goku. Son Goku quickly jumped up, dodging Piccolo's attack. Piccolo slammed his palm down hard, instantly batting Son Goku out of the air. Bang! Son Goku slammed heavily onto the ground. Goku, I'll help you. Tien Shinhan couldn't watch anymore and rushed over. Don't come over. Son Goku quickly stopped him. What? Tien Shinhan paused temporarily, looking bewildered. If someone helps, I won't be able to win the championship. Son Goku replied. Brawly wanted to help me just now too. Tien Shinhan. Is the championship important right now? I've won 2 consecutive runner-up titles. I still haven't won a championship yet, Son Goku said sheepishly. Tien Shinhan was speechless. Brawly, you don't need to help either. Son Goku instructed Brawly again. You said this yourself. Don't blame me if you get killed later because I didn't help, Brawly chuckled. Don't worry. Son Goku smiled and nodded, then silently looked back at Piccolo. Just because you got bigger, it doesn't mean you're impressive. HMPH. Are you saying I'm not impressive? Piccolo sneered, shooting energy from his mouth. Son Goku dodged with a flash and quickly appeared behind Piccolo. Thud. Son Goku delivered a kick, hitting the back of Piccolo's knee directly. Piccolo lost his balance and immediately sat down on the ground. Son Goku grabbed Piccolo's finger and performed a shoulder throw on him. Smash. Piccolo slammed heavily onto the ground, grimacing in pain. The next moment, Piccolo gritted his teeth and climbed back up from the ground. That was beautiful. Contestant Son Goku easily threw this giant behemoth onto the ground. The referee immediately commentated. He. I told you, just because you're big doesn't mean you're scary, Son Goku smiled. However, if you could get even bigger, then I'd be in danger. HMPH, did you think I couldn't get any bigger? Piccolo chuckled softly. Huh, you really can get even bigger. Son Goku was astonished, but a slight smile curled up at the corner of his mouth. Watch closely. Piccolo laughed maniacally, and his body rapidly expanded in an instant. This time, Piccolo became incredibly massive. Crack. The entire fighting stage couldn't even bear Piccolo's weight. It deeply caved in and cracked open with lines. Son Goku looked like a tiny hamster in front of Piccolo. How about that? Piccolo smiled triumphantly. It's huge. Unbelievably big, like a massive mountain. The referee announced loudly into the microphone. However, when the referee looked back, he was startled to find that the audience members had almost all left without him realizing it. The audience was scared away, which shows just how intense this match is. The referee immediately declared. Bulma. Truly a professional commentator, Bulma said, giving the referee a thumbs up. Goku, run. Just run. Yamcha exclaimed. Brawly, I'm scared. Bulma suddenly realized, and quickly hid behind Brawly. Don't worry, with Brawly here, we'll be fine, Launch smiled gently. However, just as Launch finished smiling, dust flew up and landed on the tip of Launch's nose. Achoo! Launch sneezed and turned blonde. What are you doing, Bulma? Brawly is mine. Don't try to steal him from me. Blonde Launch snorted and dragged Bulma aside. Bulma. Bulma was speechless. Brawly grinned foolishly. You finally spoke to me. I won. Brawly flashed a triumphant smile. Blonde Launch. That doesn't count. Wait, is that King Piccolo? Why did he get so big? Blonde Launch first scoffed, then her beautiful eyes widened, and she immediately pulled a submachine gun from her person and aimed it at Piccolo's body. Tat tat tat. Blonde Launch didn't hesitate at all, unleashing a fierce barrage of bullets onto Piccolo. However, those bullets hitting Piccolo's body were like tickling him. Piccolo had no intention of paying attention to Launch, he couldn't even be bothered to look at her. Ha ha ha, how about that, Son Goku? Piccolo laughed maniacally. Hee. Then I won't hold back. Son Goku leapt lightly, appearing directly opposite Piccolo's head. Piccolo was slightly stunned, his open mouth momentarily forgetting to close. Mainly, Piccolo didn't know what Son Goku intended to do. Kamehameha wave. Son Goku fired a Kamehameha wave while facing away from Piccolo. Piccolo was stunned again. Whoosh. Son Goku, using the recoil force of the Kamehameha wave, plunged directly into Piccolo's mouth. Piccolo was immediately horrified, coughing incessantly as if he had swallowed a fly. A few seconds later, Piccolo finally coughed Son Goku out. Son Goku quickly adjusted his body in the air, landed steadily, and called out to Brawly, Brawly, catch. Whoosh. The small bottle used to seal Kami flew rapidly toward Brawly. Brawly's mouth twitched slightly, he didn't really want to catch it. Mainly because it looked a bit disgusting. PFF'd. Brawly blew a puff of air at the approaching small bottle. Whoosh. As the small bottle neared Brawly, he simply blew it away with a single breath. Plop. The small bottle landed on Tian Xinhan's head. Tian Xinhan silently wiped his sweat. Even Son Goku was momentarily at a loss for how to proceed, speechless. Tian Xinhan, quickly pick up the small bottle and open it. Son Goku urgently shouted to Tian Xinhan. Tian Xinhan looked down and finally noticed it was the small bottle that sealed Kami. At this moment, Tian Xinhan didn't hesitate at all, quickly went forward, picked up the small bottle, and opened its lid. Oh no! Piccolo was greatly startled. However, by the time Piccolo wanted to stop it, it was already too late. Whoosh! With a puff of smoke rising from the small bottle, Kami safely darted out from within. Well done! Son Goku grinned, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. After being unsealed, Kami immediately looked bewildered. What's going on? Kami asked curiously, but quickly realized, I remember now, I was sealed in the bottle by the evil containment wave. You must be Kami, right? Master Roshi stepped forward to greet him. Goku saved you with a clever tactic. Where's Goku? Kami was startled. Hey, hurry up and get over here, otherwise, if you get eaten again, it'll just be more trouble. Broly stepped forward, patted Kami's shoulder, and commanded him in an unquestionable tone. Kami. Kami silently wiped his sweat, not saying much for a moment. You scoundrel. Piccolo was furious and quickly returned to his original size. What? Back to normal again. Son Goku smiled. Are you afraid I'll crawl into your stomach again? Wah! Piccolo was exasperated and quickly charged towards Son Goku. Swish! Swish! The two simultaneously vanished from the ring. They're gone again. Tian Xinhan exclaimed. Everyone else also widened their eyes, searching everywhere for Son Goku and Piccolo. I can't see them, not even with my godly eyes. Kami looked bewildered, his face full of shock. However, while saying this, Kami suddenly realized something and immediately looked at Broly next to him. Broly was looking up at the sky, with an expression like he was watching a show. Did Broly see them? Indeed. The next moment, Son Goku and Piccolo appeared high in the sky, each landing a punch on the other. Kami. Broly, who never trained, actually had such good eyesight. Could he really catch that? Bang bang bang. Son Goku and Piccolo's battle grew increasingly fierce. Suddenly, Son Goku shot a Kamehameha wave from his feet, and using the recoil, landed a heavy punch on Piccolo's face. He used his feet to release a Kamehameha wave. Tian Xinhan exclaimed. Yes. Releasing the Kamehameha wave with his feet. His hands are then free to move, what a brilliant idea. Master Roshi silently sighed in admiration. Piccolo's body plummeted downwards. The next moment, light flashed from Piccolo's two antennae. Son Goku, who was falling, was unfortunately hit and immediately screamed in pain from the electric shock. Thud. Son Goku landed heavily on the ground, grimacing in pain. Piccolo swooped down from the sky and delivered a heavy punch towards Son Goku. Oh no! Kami was greatly alarmed, subconsciously wanting to rush over and block the punch for Son Goku. Thud. Broly grabbed Kami's cape, forcefully pulling him back. What are you doing, Broly? Kami nearly stumbled to the ground, quickly asking. This is their fight, don't disturb them. Let Goku fulfill his dream of being champion first. Broly grinned. Kami was at a loss for how to answer this question. Bang! Piccolo landed a heavy punch on Son Goku's face. Son Goku was sent flying backward, crashing into the wall behind him. However, Son Goku quickly got up from the ground, panting heavily. Piccolo also didn't immediately attack, just sneered at Son Goku. Even you are starting to get tired. You too, the power of your punches has weakened. Son Goku grinned. Son Goku. Don't keep fighting, that's a trivial matter. Let's both take him down now. This is the best chance, plus Broly. The three of us can definitely defeat him. Kami immediately suggested to Son Goku, looking at Broly as he spoke. Just so you know, I only like one-on-one fights. Broly flatly refused. Is this new generation Piccolo even worth three people teaming up against? Broly is right, I also like one-on-one fights. Son Goku smiled at Kami. I'm sorry, Kami, please let me act as a martial artist wishes. Kami was speechless for a moment. What kind of people are Son Goku and Broly? But then again, both Goku and Broly have tails. Goku's tail was removed by me. But Broly's tail is still there. However, so many years have passed, and Brawly seems to have never transformed into a great ape. Kami, I also ask you, let Goku do it alone, Tien Shinhan said seriously. Yes, if Goku can't do it, then we'll see, Krillin nodded. HMPH, do you think the three of you together can defeat me? Piccolo laughed maniacally, a look of disdain on his face. What a joke. Even if all of you come at once, how could you be my opponent? Well, my hands are suddenly a bit itchy. Brawly clapped his hands, looking eager, and said to Son Goku, Goku, have you had enough? It's my turn. Son Goku. Let me finish, then you can fight, Son Goku hastily said. Alright, Brawly nodded. Piccolo. Piccolo's face darkened. Son Goku fights, then Brawly fights. Brawly fights, then Kami fights. Are you playing a tag team match? But what does Piccolo, have to fear? Alright then, one by one it is. Kami nodded, finally agreeing. Good, Son Goku smiled at Kami. HMPH, looking at your confident expression, do you think you can defeat me? Piccolo snorted coldly. I've seen through your moves. Son Goku smiled confidently. What did you say? You've seen through my moves. Piccolo gnashed his teeth in anger. You think you can defeat me, King Piccolo? I can. Son Goku nodded. You absolutely cannot defeat me, King Piccolo. I am many times stronger than Brawly was 3 years ago. Piccolo roared angrily. Is that so? Anyway, I'm stronger than you now. Son Goku smiled slightly. Boastful. Piccolo roared, shooting energy from his hand. The energy flew towards Son Goku at an extremely fast speed. Son Goku quickly jumped to dodge. However, this energy seemed to have eyes, chasing Son Goku relentlessly. Son Goku released another small Kamehameha wave to dodge. It's useless no matter where you run. It can chase you to the ends of the earth. Piccolo laughed maniacally. So that's how it is. Son Goku immediately understood and quickly descended from the sky. Piccolo suddenly had a bad premonition. Watching the energy blast catching up, Son Goku rushed towards Piccolo. Piccolo turned pale with fright. Swish. Son Goku smiled at Piccolo, and with a flicker, disappeared from the spot. Boom. Piccolo was directly hit by the energy blast he had released, suffering significant injuries, and one of his arms was already dangling, seemingly crippled. Surrender quickly, you can't beat me. Son Goku took a deep breath and kindly advised. HMPH. Piccolo snorted coldly, and tore off his crippled arm. Ah. Piccolo let out screams, regenerating his arm. Son Goku was stunned. However, Piccolo was breathing more heavily due to the large amount of energy consumed by regeneration. I won't let you off. Piccolo was already furious. I'll make you taste King Piccolo's ultimate move. Run. Everyone, get out of here. Son Goku realized something was wrong and hurriedly shouted to the people present. At this moment, because of the fierce battle between Son Goku and Piccolo, the other spectators had long since disappeared. After all, this battle had already exceeded the comprehension of ordinary people. If they stayed to watch the show, they would probably be affected. Piccolo had already gathered powerful energy, intending to launch a group attack. It's best to eliminate Brawly as well, to prevent you all from ganging up on me later. Oh no. This is bad. Such powerful energy. Master Roshi and the others were all scared pale. Old man, hide behind me, I'll protect you. Brawly pulled Master Roshi behind him. Master Roshi. Launch. And me. Blonde Launch glared at Brawly, puffing out her cheeks and continuously widening her eyes. Did you just talk to me first this time? Brawly chuckled. Bulma silently wiped away sweat from the side. You really are a straight man. How could a man like this have a girlfriend? Well, Brawly is indeed very handsome. A handsome man, being a bit straightforward is acceptable. This time, I admit defeat. Blonde Launch snorted, gritting her teeth and nodding. That's more like it, come in quickly. Brawly smiled contentedly and waved at Blonde Launch. Blonde Launch quickly ran over. Clap. Brawly didn't hesitate at all and directly put up a protective shield. Krillin. Brawly, we've been together for so long, add me too. Krillin sniffled his non-existent nose, wanting to cry. Come in yourself. Brawly called out. Anyway, one more person or one less person doesn't make much difference. For Brawly, it was just consuming a tiny fraction of energy. If it weren't for protecting the old man Roshi, Brawly wouldn't even need to put up this protective shield. Me too. Bulma also quickly ran into the protective shield. You, the rest of you, what are you still staring at? Get into Brawly's protective shield quickly. Son Goku yelled loudly at Chi-Chi, Tien Shinhan, Yamcha, Kami, and the others. Goku, you go too. Chi-Chi looked worried. I want to see what he can do. Son Goku gritted his teeth. Don't talk nonsense. Kami anxiously said, how long are you going to be stubborn? This has long gone beyond the scope of the competition. Go hide in Brawly's protective shield first. I feel that his shield's energy intensity is not low, it should be able to withstand it. Piccolo finally gathered his energy, revealing an evil smile. Hey, everyone, hurry and hide in Brawly's protective shield. Tien Shinhan shouted loudly. Immediately, everyone present ran into the protective shield released by Brawly. Kami, however, hesitated, mainly worried that Son Goku was in danger. If he stayed outside, at least Piccolo wouldn't dare to attack Son Goku with full force. What are you dawdling for? Blonde Launch angrily shouted at Kami. Kami, come in quickly. Master Roshi waved at Kami. So troublesome. Brawly frowned slightly, waved his hand through the air, and then retracted it. Immediately, a powerful energy quickly acted upon Kami's body. Kami's body instantly flew uncontrollably to Brawly's side and entered his protective shield. Kami was stunned at that moment. I, a dignified god, was actually controlled by Brawly and flown over. How did this happen? Is Brawly really more powerful than Goku? Seeing that Kami had entered Brawly's protective shield, Piccolo grinned sinisterly. Rumble. Piccolo directly released all the energy he had gathered. Accompanied by an earth-shattering roar, vast energy surged wildly in all directions. A huge mushroom cloud rose over the entire island. When the dust settled, Piccolo howled to the sky, filled with heroic fervor. It's over. He's finished. Piccolo let out a long sigh of relief, smiling even more brightly. Hey, are you peeing with your eyes open? Brawly scolded him testily. Piccolo paused slightly, then turned to look in Brawly's direction. Subsequently, Piccolo discovered with a look of astonishment. Brawly's protective shield was completely unharmed, not even a single crack appeared. The people inside the protective shield were naturally safe and sound. Don't look at me, look over there. Brawly pointed in Son Goku's direction. Goku. That's great. Goku is safe. Krillin exclaimed, happy for Son Goku. You, what did you say? Piccolo was greatly alarmed and immediately looked at Son Goku. Indeed, Son Goku had already protected himself from the energy released by Piccolo. How about that? I blocked it. Son Goku smiled. Clap. Brawly dispersed the protective shield. I never thought. You actually. Piccolo was greatly alarmed, his body trembling violently. That's great. Goku is alive. Krillin cheered excitedly. Master Roshi and the others also walked out from beside Brawly, all overjoyed. But the next moment, Master Roshi gave Brawly a deep look. Kid, who taught you your protective shield? Master Roshi couldn't help but ask. I was born with it, does it need to be taught? Brawly scratched his head. But your kid's protective shield is quite sturdy, not a scratch on it. Master Roshi exclaimed repeatedly. Kami also fell silent, his expression becoming more solemn. Why do I feel? Brawly is even stronger than I imagined. And much, much stronger. The problem is, doesn't this kid usually not train? He's already this strong without training. If he really trained, how heaven-defying would his strength be? I'm going to win. Son Goku clenched his fist. Why you? Piccolo felt a wave of terror. Watch this. Son Goku adopted his fighting stance, preparing to attack. Whoosh. Son Goku quickly lunged forward, whistling toward where Piccolo stood. Bang. Son Goku delivered a fierce elbow strike, smashing heavily into Piccolo's face. Piccolo's face was distorted and deformed by the impact. Thud. Son Goku attacked again, kicking Piccolo's right arm. Piccolo immediately felt as if his right arm was fractured. Son Goku followed up with an uppercut, hitting Piccolo's abdomen again. PFF'd. Piccolo spat out a mouthful of bile mixed with blood, feeling utterly wretched. The next moment, Piccolo collapsed heavily onto the ground. Son Goku leapt into the air, did a somersault, and gathered a Kamehameha wave in his hands. Rumble. A powerful blast of energy shot out from Son Goku's hands, slamming into Piccolo below. Piccolo let out a shriek of agony, his body sinking deep into the crater, completely motionless. Son Goku slowly landed on the edge of the crater, looking at the seemingly unconscious Piccolo, then turned and called to the referee. "Mr. Referee, start counting." "Ah. Yes. Yes." The referee quickly rushed over, peered into the large pit at Piccolo, and asked, "He's not dead, is he? The World Martial Arts Tournament doesn't allow killing. If he's dead, it doesn't count." "Don't worry, he's still alive." Son Goku replied seriously. "He's not that easy to kill, and besides." At this point, Son Goku glanced toward Kami. "Yes, I am still alive, and this is the proof." Kami nodded. "Then start the count." Although the referee didn't understand, he immediately began counting. 1, 2, 3. Smiles of impending victory appeared on everyone's faces. 9. Son Goku gave his companions a thumbs up. Snap. Just then, Piccolo suddenly got up and shot a stream of light from his mouth. The energy blast pierced directly through Son Goku's right shoulder, leaving a bloody hole. Son Goku immediately collapsed to the ground, coughing up large amounts of blood. Goku, Krillin and the others were shocked. Broly also raised an eyebrow. Who? Piccolo gasped heavily, struggling to his feet from the ground, and walked over to Son Goku. Son Goku let out groans of pain. "HMPH, your vitality is quite tenacious, you're still not dead." Piccolo chuckled coldly. "You're truly troublesome. You are indeed amazing, much stronger than Broly. But your life is about to end." Goku. Chi-Chi looked worried. "This is bad." Master Roshi's heart trembled, and he turned to look at Broly. "Do you want me to help?" Broly scratched his head and asked. "What are you waiting for? If you don't help now, Goku is going to be killed." Master Roshi nodded emphatically. "Well, alright." Broly rubbed his hands, and just before heading out, he asked Son Goku again, "You need my help, right?" Goku. Don't come over. I haven't lost yet." Son Goku insisted stubbornly, standing up from the ground and smiling at Piccolo. "It didn't hit a vital spot, I can still fight." You fool." Piccolo was furious and threw a punch at Son Goku. Son Goku dodged Piccolo's punch and landed an uppercut on his floating ribs. Piccolo winced in pain and leapt up, kicking Son Goku's leg. Son Goku stumbled back several steps, nearly falling down. Both of them were gasping heavily, utterly exhausted. Son Goku was constantly spitting blood, his vision blurred, and cold sweat poured off him. "You're almost finished, aren't you? This is because of excessive blood loss." Piccolo smirked triumphantly, delivering another elbow strike. Son Goku fell backward onto the ground. Piccolo quickly pounced, slamming his knee heavily onto Son Goku's calf. "Ah!" Son Goku let out a shrill scream, his calf had suffered a comminuted fracture. "Ah!" Chi-Chi couldn't bear to watch anymore and quickly covered her eyes. "No. Goku's leg is broken," Krillin exclaimed. "Only your right hand can still move." Piccolo chuckled softly, revealing a cruel smile. "I'm going to make sure you can't move at all, then slowly torture you to death." Whoosh! A blast of energy shot from Piccolo's hand, hitting Son Goku's left arm directly. "Ah!" Son Goku screamed again. "Now your body can't move. I'm going to deliver the final blow." Piccolo snorted coldly and flew high into the sky. "This is bad. Goku is going to be killed." Krillin gritted his teeth, unable to stand watching. "Broly, hurry up. Go defeat King Piccolo." Kami urged anxiously. "He doesn't have much energy left now, with your strength you can definitely beat him. If you don't go now, it will be too late." "No. Don't do it." Son Goku managed to say through gritted teeth. "I want to win and show you all. I haven't won the championship yet." The people present were speechless. Broly's face froze, and for a moment, he was unable to respond. "Is this championship really that important? You've been beaten into a wreck." Whoosh! Piccolo concentrated energy in his right hand, and a blast of energy hurtled down towards Son Goku below at extreme speed. Goku. Krillin felt like his world was collapsing. Rumble. Accompanied by an earth-shattering boom, a massive mushroom cloud rose up at the scene. After the smoke gradually dispersed, There was nothing left where Son Goku had been. Piccolo slowly descended, a triumphant smile on his face, and laughed wildly. Now he's completely turned to ash. I finally won. He took Goku and Krillin gritted his teeth, indignant. We were still too late. Master Roshi sighed. Then next up, it's your turn, Broly. Piccolo turned, looking at Broly with fighting intent. Although I've used up a lot of energy, I am much stronger now than my father was 3 years ago. Dealing with you will be more than enough. Ah, is that so? Broly scratched his head. But you should look up at the sky first. Saying this, Broly pointed toward the sky. What? Piccolo was stunned. Goku is still alive. Watch out, he's coming. Broly grinned. What did you say? Piccolo looked shocked. Everyone followed the direction Broly pointed and indeed saw Son Goku speeding toward them from the sky. That's great. Goku is alive. It's the sky dance technique. Piccolo. I'm right here. Son Goku dove down from the sky. You're definitely going to lose. Bang. Son Goku directly slammed his head heavily into Piccolo's abdomen. Piccolo let out a silent scream, flying backward and falling out of the ring. Son Goku also fell to the ground. Everyone present stared wide-eyed, silently watching Son Goku. Even Broly was shocked by Son Goku's fighting spirit. He really dared to fight for this championship. Mr. Referee. Son Goku smiled weakly. That guy already fell out of bounds, right? The referee was startled at first, then immediately went forward to check. That means, he really did fall out of bounds. The referee nodded, then loudly announced, Contestant Son Goku wins. Contestant Son Goku is the World Martial Arts Tournament champion. He. I finally succeeded. Son Goku smiled excitedly. Master Roshi, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, and the others cheered continuously, happy for Son Goku. A few of them rushed towards Son Goku. Broly gave Son Goku a thumbs up, and to celebrate this wonderful day, he even opened a pack of spicy strips and began to eat them happily. You won, Goku, you won. Krillin cheered for Son Goku as he rushed over. Goku. Chi-Chi rushed forward. Yamcha followed closely behind. The others also followed suit. Well done, Goku. You're still amazing. Krillin was overjoyed. I finally won the championship. Son Goku grinned. You really did it, Goku. Have you surpassed Broly now? Krillin was extremely excited, clenching his fists tightly. Yeah. At least I feel like I've surpassed Broly. Yamcha added from behind. What are you saying? Son Goku was startled. That's not true. Goku, don't be modest. We all witnessed your battle with King Piccolo this time. Krillin laughed heartily. Goku, are you alright? Chi-Chi was more concerned about Son Goku's injuries. I'm fine. Son Goku gently shook his head. Let's send him to the hospital immediately. Yamcha suggested. Don't worry, I brought senzu beans. Just then, a fat man with a sword walked over from a distance. It was Yajirobe. Yajirobe had prepared a bag of senzu beans. Yajirobe, what are you doing here? Son Goku slightly raised his head and looked at Yajirobe. I was worried, so I came to see you. Yajirobe said, taking out a senzu bean and handing it to Son Goku's mouth. Son Goku ate the senzu bean in one bite. Immediately, Son Goku's injuries fully recovered, and his stamina returned to its peak state. Whoosh! Son Goku was overjoyed and flew high into the sky. I succeeded. I won the World Martial Arts Tournament Championship. Son Goku happily shouted in the air. Everyone present was stunned for a moment. How could he fly so high after such serious injuries? Aren't senzu beans only for filling your stomach? Krillin asked curiously. You've even eaten senzu beans, and you don't even know that. Yajirobe rolled his eyes at Krillin. Senzu beans. They can fill your stomach. Broly leaned over and asked with some surprise. Yeah, one senzu bean can keep you from being hungry for 10 days. Krillin nodded. Didn't I tell you before? I've never been full. Give me one, I'll try it when I'm hungry. Broly instructed Yajirobe. You're Broly, I heard we have the same hobbies, ha ha ha. Yajirobe's eyes sparkled as he laughed at Broly. Immediately after, Yajirobe didn't stand on ceremony and directly shoved the bag of senzu beans into Broly's hand. They're all yours. Yajirobe said generously. You're really good at making friends. Krillin muttered softly to the side, glancing sideways at Yahirobe, giving away Korin's senzu beans as a favor. Shut up. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. Yahirobe scolded. We have the same hobbies. Brawley was slightly stunned, looking at Yahirobe, not quite understanding. We both love to eat. Yahirobe chuckled. You like good food too. Brawley raised an eyebrow. Yeah, I'll treat you to a good meal someday. Yahirobe patted his stomach and said with a smile. Then it's happily decided. Brawley nodded. On the other side, Cammy looked at Piccolo, who had lost his fighting ability, and pondered silently. After a brief silence, Cammy finally made up his mind and raised his hand to strike Piccolo dead. Son Goku immediately descended from the sky, blocking in front of Piccolo. Son Goku. What are you doing? Get out of the way. Cammy's heart tightened, and he shouted loudly. Cammy, what do you want to do? Son Goku asked. This guy is still alive, he must be eradicated, he cannot be allowed to live any longer. Cammy said with a firm expression, if he stays alive, what just happened will happen again. I'll deal with him later. Son Goku replied seriously, if you kill Piccolo, you'll die too. You can ask Shenron to revive me. Cammy said hastily. Can Cammy lie too? Son Goku smiled slightly, if Cammy dies, the Dragon Balls will disappear too. I already said this. Cammy fell silent. There was a long silence at the scene. I actually haven't deserved to be Cammy for a long time. Cammy sighed to the sky. This terrifying demon, Piccolo, was created by my own hands. Now his power has surpassed that of a god, and he will inevitably cause great disaster to this world in the future. I am no longer worthy of being Cammy, and I ought to die. However, you are also the one who brought peace back to the world. Master Roshi, for once, seriously adjusted his sunglasses. Without the Dragon Balls you created, there would be no growth and acquaintance for Goku and us today. One Dragon Ball led to this series of stories, and the Dragon Balls will surely save the entire world. Cammy slowly closed his eyes, suddenly feeling how right Master Roshi's words were. Son Goku, what a good master you have met. Cammy opened his eyes, smiling as he looked at Son Goku. Even though he's a bit unreliable sometimes. Son Goku laughed heartily. No, I just taught him some basic skills. His growth to this point is all thanks to you and Korin. Master Roshi quickly waved his hand modestly. Snap. Cammy pointed a finger at Son Goku. Immediately, Son Goku's clothes were brand new, restored to their orange color. This turtle symbol uniform suits you best. Cammy smiled. Thank you. Son Goku quickly thanked him, then called out to Yahirobe, Yahirobe, give me another senzu bean. I gave all the senzu beans to Brawley. Yahirobe pointed to Brawley nearby. Brawley. Give me another senzu bean. Son Goku waved at Brawley. Here. Brawley didn't refuse and directly threw a senzu bean to Son Goku. Son Goku took the senzu bean and placed it near Piccolo's mouth. Eat it, you'll recover after eating it. Son Goku said with a smile. Everyone present was immediately greatly alarmed. Piccolo had nothing to hesitate about and immediately ate the senzu bean. In the blink of an eye, Piccolo's pupils slightly contracted, and he had already recovered completely. Snap. The next moment, Piccolo leapt up from the ground, instantly putting distance between himself and Son Goku, and looked at Son Goku with a complex expression. Piccolo, Master Roshi said before the match that the winner has to challenge Brawley. Son Goku grinned, showing off a row of neat white teeth, and then looked seriously at the grim-faced Piccolo. Although I won, after thinking it over, I feel like the person who really wants to challenge Brawley should be you. So I'm giving this opportunity to you. Brawley couldn't help but freeze for a moment, subconsciously raising his hand to scratch his slightly messy black hair. Everyone present, including Krillin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, Chi-Chi, and the other spectators, instantly fell into a petrified silence upon hearing Son Goku's words, their faces filled with expressions of disbelief. Goku wants King Piccolo to challenge Brawley. Everyone's minds were struggling to process this. What exactly are you thinking? That logic is far too jumpy. Master Roshi. Master Roshi adjusted the sunglasses that had slipped down his nose, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly, as a few drops of cold sweat quietly beaded on his forehead. Goku, you brat. If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten about that. But is now the time to talk about this. Besides, don't joke around. Brawley hasn't done any serious training these past few years. Amidst the strange silence. It's fine. Brawley suddenly spoke, breaking the silence. He then pulled out a tissue and carefully wiped the oil stain from the spicy strips off his fingertips. Having finished this, he finally looked up, a hint of interest on his face, and stretched his wrist. My hands are a little itchy, anyway. HMPH. Just him. Piccolo recovered from his initial shock, letting out a cold snort full of contempt. He then looked as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world, a nearly twisted smile appearing on his face, his shoulders trembling slightly from suppressed laughter. Heaven is helping me. Originally, after witnessing Son Goku's true strength, Piccolo had secretly decided to temporarily retreat and fight another day. After all, continuing the fight was too risky, with an uncertain outcome. However, Son Goku's proposal was like lighting a beacon in Piccolo's dark heart. As long as he didn't have to keep fighting Son Goku, that troublesome fellow, everything was fine. Piccolo was ecstatic. Moreover, I was planning to seek revenge on Brawley anyway. Isn't this the opportunity I've been dreaming of? This is practically a gift. In that case, Brawley. Piccolo restrained his smile, but the disdain and cruelty in his eyes remained undiminished. He looked coldly at Brawley below the ring, his voice like ice. Are you mentally prepared? Prepared to pay the price for what you did 3 years ago? Brawley nodded repeatedly, his expression still calm. After speaking, Brawley said no more. He took a step, moving unhurriedly, walking toward Piccolo's location as if taking a stroll. Brawley's movements were relaxed and casual, completely at odds with the tense and ruined environment around him. Go Brawley. Blonde Launch seemed completely oblivious to the solemn atmosphere, cupping her hands around her mouth like a megaphone, shouting excitedly toward Brawley, her face radiating pure support. Don't say that. Brawley suddenly stopped, turned his head, and shook it at Launch. Blonde Launch was stunned, her beautiful eyes filled with confusion, not understanding why Brawley was stopping her from cheering him on. I only planned to use a tiny bit of energy to play with him. Brawley gave Launch a gentle yet somewhat inscrutable smile and patiently explained, if you cheer me on, and I accidentally get serious, he's going to die horribly. Kid. Be careful, don't be careless. Master Roshi's heart tightened upon hearing Brawley's arrogant words. He rushed forward a few steps, urgently calling out instructions to Brawley, his wrinkled face etched with worry. He is much stronger than that old King Piccolo from 3 years ago. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Brawley turned back and gave Master Roshi a reassuring look. The confidence in that gaze somehow made Master Roshi feel a strange sense of calm. Immediately after, Brawley added a sentence, as if emphasizing a fact everyone had forgotten. Didn't I already say? 3 years ago, I only used 1/10 millionth of my power. What? 1/10 millionth? Cammy gasped in astonishment upon hearing this. The number was so staggering that Cammy instinctively found it hard to believe. But immediately afterward, Cammy gave a wry smile, shook his head, and dismissed the unrealistic thought. Did he really only use 1/10 millionth of his power? How could that be? This must be an exaggeration used by this young man named Brawley to boost his own presence. HMPH. What an arrogant fool. Piccolo was completely enraged by Brawley's remark, feeling unprecedentedly slighted. The next moment, Piccolo held up 3 fingers and forcefully gestured them in front of Brawley. His eyes were filled with extreme confidence and killing intent, and his voice boomed like thunder. 3 seconds. I only need 3 seconds. I can beat you until you're picking up your teeth. You will pay the price for your arrogance just now. Get started, stop dawdling. Brawley seemed not to hear Piccolo's threat, merely urging him on impatiently. He then resumed his march, striding toward Piccolo's position. Brawley's steps were steady, barely kicking up any dust as they met the ground, a stark contrast to Piccolo's surging evil aura. You seek death. Seeing Brawley ignore him so thoroughly, Piccolo's pent-up rage instantly exploded. Piccolo stopped wasting words and let out a deafening roar. His green hand, condensed with terrifying power, was swung forward fiercely, accompanied by a shriek that tore through the air. Rumble. A thick, solidified green beam of light, containing destructive energy within, surged forward like an awakened python. With overwhelming momentum, it instantly crossed the distance between the two, rushing to engulf Brawley's seemingly defenseless body. Where the light beam passed, the ground was plowed open into a deep trench, and shattered stones and dust were swept up, forming a terrifying shockwave. A deafening explosion sounded as the energy beam hit Brawley squarely. Blinding green light swallowed Brawley's figure, followed immediately by an even more violent secondary explosion. A dense, dust-laden mushroom cloud soared into the sky, completely burying Brawley. The powerful shockwave instantly destroyed everything. Shrapnel flew outwards like raindrops, forcing Master Roshi and the others to raise their arms to shield themselves. The stadium fell silent once more, leaving only the residual hum of energy and the crackling sound of debris hitting the ground. Piccolo slowly retracted his arm, his chest rising and falling slightly from the full power attack he had just launched. The next moment, Piccolo didn't even look at the thick smoke and dust, a contemptuous and cruel smile appearing on his face, as if he had already confirmed the death of his opponent. Piccolo turned his head to look at Son Goku, whose expression was serious nearby, his tone full of smugness and mockery. Son Goku, did you see that? How could he possibly be my opponent? I told you before, although Brawley was strong 3 years ago, that's ancient history. Now, the level he's at is too far below ours. The difference is like heaven and earth. Son Goku stood there quietly, without any expression on his face, neither worry nor surprise, just gazing deeply at the smoke and dust that had yet to dissipate. HMPH. Seeing Son Goku remain silent, Piccolo assumed he had conceded, feeling even more delighted. The matter between the two of us ends here today. One day, I will thoroughly defeat you, and then I will personally rule this world. After finishing this ambitious declaration, Piccolo intended to turn around and fly away from this place that had caused him some embarrassment. Although he hadn't won the championship today, eliminating Brawley, this serious threat, made the trip worthwhile. Piccolo. Son Goku suddenly spoke up, stopping him, his voice calm and steady. You should take a good look. Look at what? Piccolo paused, frowning impatiently. Following the direction of Son Goku's gaze, he looked suspiciously at the dense, sight-obscuring smoke that still lingered. Immediately afterward, Piccolo's pupils suddenly contracted. They became as small as pinpricks. Within the swirling smoke and dust, a tall, imposing figure, completely unharmed, slowly and clearly emerged, step by step. The figure's steps were steady and composed, as if the energy blast that could have destroyed mountains was nothing more than a gentle breeze across the face. The next moment, under the incredulous gaze of everyone present, Brawley casually and leisurely walked out of the dust and smoke that had not yet fully cleared. Brawley even raised his hand to symbolically brush off the almost non-existent dust from his shoulder. Is that your attack? Brawley's expression was indifferent, his tone as calm as if he were commenting on a glass of plain water. It feels like a mosquito bite. A little itchy. Matching his words, Brawley lightly scratched the spot on his chest where the energy beam had just struck. This level of attack was indeed insignificant to Brawley. The combat power contained within him was truly terrifying, having long surpassed a realm ordinary people could not comprehend. Now, let alone Piccolo right in front of him, even if the Universe Emperor Frieza came personally, he probably wouldn't be enough for Brawley to stretch his muscles. Wah! What? The sneer and smugness on Piccolo's face instantly froze, replaced by extreme shock and horror. Subsequently, Piccolo's pupils trembled violently, and his complexion changed several times in an instant, from green to white, and then from white to pale blue, as if he had witnessed the most impossible thing in the world. No. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Piccolo cried out, his voice turning sharp due to extreme shock. In that last attack, Piccolo released at least close to 80% of his energy. He held nothing back. The goal was a guaranteed kill in one strike, completely wiping away the humiliation of 3 years ago. Yet this fatal blow, which concentrated Piccolo's massive energy, struck Brawley, and actually failed to cause even the slightest bit of damage. Not even his clothes were damaged. This guy named Brawley, how could he possibly be this powerful? This completely overturned Piccolo's understanding of reality. Everyone present, including Master Roshi, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, Chi-Chi, and even Kami, all widened their eyes, their mouths agape enough to fit an egg, their faces filled with extreme shock and disbelief. Each person was more astonished than the last. Because they could all clearly sense how terrifying and violent the energy contained within the beam Piccolo had just released was. Among the people here, aside from Goku who might be able to withstand it or dodge using speed and strength, everyone else, even the greatly strengthened Tien Shinhan, would probably be instantly annihilated if hit head-on. Even Kami himself questioned whether he had the ability to completely resist such a powerful energy invasion and remain completely unharmed. Brawly ignored the crowd's astonishment and continued to stride forward, unhurriedly, like taking a stroll in his own backyard, advancing toward Piccolo, who was standing frozen with a pale face. Brawly's eyes were calm, even carrying a hint of boredom. Tap, tap, tap. Brawly's footsteps weren't heavy, but in the deathly silent arena, they sounded like they were stepping on Piccolo's heart, each one creating a suffocating pressure. He seemed startled by Brawly's completely illogical defensive capability and the immeasurable, abyss-like aura radiating invisibly from him. Piccolo subconsciously and uncontrollably took 2 steps backward. This was a retreat Piccolo had never made, even when facing Son Goku. Meanwhile, Son Goku, standing nearby, showed a faint smile upon seeing this scene. It was as if everything happening before them had long been within Son Goku's expectations. At the same time, Son Goku's gaze toward Brawly was filled with the pure recognition and curiosity reserved for a true powerhouse. Don't come closer. After a brief moment of horror and distraction, Piccolo's intense sense of humiliation and survival instinct instantly overcame his fear of the unknown. He immediately erupted in rage, roaring menacingly yet with an underlying weakness, like a cornered beast, at Brawly who was now close at hand. As he spoke, Piccolo gritted his teeth, channeling all his remaining strength into his right arm. His muscles swelled, and veins bulged like coiled dragons, sending a heavy punch toward Brawly's chest with the determination to tear everything apart. This single punch even created a sonic boom. Facing this full-power blow fueled by rage, Brawly's reaction once again left everyone dumbfounded. Because Brawly didn't dodge or evade at all, he didn't even bother to assume a defensive stance, just standing straight up, as if intending to endure the heavy punch with his bare flesh. The next moment, a scene occurred that almost made everyone's eyes pop out. Crack! An incredibly clear snap of bone shattering exploded like a clap of thunder in the silent arena. Arg! Following that was Piccolo's extremely shrill scream, like that of a pig being slaughtered. The sound was filled with unbearable agony and bone-deep terror. Everyone quickly focused their gaze. The sight before them nearly stopped their breathing. They were horrified to find that Piccolo's powerful right arm, which he had swung, was now bent at an extremely unnatural and twisted angle. The bones of his forearm had clearly pierced the skin, revealing stark white bone fragments, and green blood was gushing from the wound. It was a comminuted fracture. Brawly, on the other hand, still stood casually in place, chest puffed out, as if Piccolo's earth-shattering punch just now had merely brushed some dust off him. Brawly didn't even sway. His expression was normal, his breathing steady. Piccolo, the attacker who threw the punch, had a broken arm and was screaming repeatedly. Brawly, who was attacked, was unharmed and looked indifferent. This absurd and shocking scene plunged the area into a deathly silence. You could hear a pin drop. Even Son Goku, who had been mentally prepared, now had a small, undeniable look of shock on his face. Son Goku knew Brawly was strong, but he never expected him to be this ridiculously powerful. This was taking a direct hit. Not only was he completely unharmed, but the attacker's arm was completely ruined by the recoil. What terrifying physical strength and energy level would that require? Everyone was dumbfounded, their minds blank. Could it be, what Brawly said before, that 3 years ago he only used 1/10,000,000th of his power, wasn't bragging, but true? But the problem is, he hasn't really trained much in these 3 years. Shouldn't his strength have stagnated or even regressed? However, if one thinks about it more deeply, even if Brawly really didn't train much in these 3 years and his strength regressed, then, to what extent could his so-called 1/10,000,000th of his power regress further? Dealing with Piccolo in front of him would probably still be effortless, like a giant looking down on an ant, right? Ah, my hand, my hand. Piccolo's screams grew more intense, the excruciating pain from his broken arm almost making him faint, his forehead covered in large beads of cold sweat. At this moment, the look in Piccolo's eyes as he gazed at Brawley was no longer one of contempt, anger, and killing intent, but rather a thick, almost overflowing terror and shock. As if looking at an incomprehensible monster that had crawled out from the depths of hell. Is this guy really still human? Look. Brawley looked at the screaming Piccolo, baring his teeth in a playful smile, observing him with interest. When you hit me, I didn't make a sound, so why are you screaming so terribly? Anyone who didn't know would think I was hitting you. Brawley's tone carried an innocent cruelty. Cammy was also completely dumbfounded at this moment, his green energy face showing an incredibly complex expression, a mix of shock, bewilderment, and disbelief. Brawley, is he really that strong? So unreasonably strong. At this moment, Cammy suddenly felt that his previous worries and judgments were exactly like those of a clown jumping up and down. Cammy had always thought that Brawley, due to neglecting his training, had long been far surpassed by the diligently training Son Goku and the exceptionally talented Piccolo. The result, this gap is no longer a question of surpassing or not, this is simply a dimensional crushing. It's the difference between a firefly and a bright moon. Even without training, Brawley possesses such world-destroying power. If he were to train even a little seriously, to what extent would his power become heaven-defying? Cammy simply couldn't imagine. This kid, really scared me. Master Roshi recovered from his extreme shock, then his face lit up with an uncontrollable excitement, rubbing his hands together agitatedly, his goatee even perking up with excitement. Master Roshi really wanted to show off to everyone around him at this very moment. See that? This is someone I, Master Roshi, personally brought up. This is Brawley, like my own grandson. Yes, my own. Now. Brawley's smile faded as he looked at Piccolo, who was retreating due to intense pain and fear, and chuckled, revealing his white teeth. It's my turn to attack, isn't it? Piccolo was truly terrified, his strong survival instinct forcing him to endure the agonizing pain from his broken arm. He propped himself up with his remaining left hand, his feet flailing wildly, desperately backing away, trying to escape this terrifying monster. His green face was abnormally pale from blood loss and fear. Bang! Brawley seemed a little bored, casually raising his hand and swatting it towards Piccolo, as if flicking an annoying fly. The movement appeared slow, yet Piccolo had no way to dodge it. Splat! A dull thud. Piccolo couldn't even manage a blocking motion. He was like a person struck by an invisible giant hammer, directly slapped to the ground by Brawley's casual blow, face first onto the shattered ground, completely losing the ability to resist, leaving only faint moans. In the face of an absolute power gap, the arrogant Piccolo was now reduced to being ruthlessly crushed, as pathetic as a dead dog. Too weak. Brawley shook his head in disappointment, looking at Piccolo, who lay motionless on the ground. If I didn't want to keep the Dragon Balls to ask Shenron about the Grand Minister, 10,000 of you wouldn't be enough for me to warm up. Piccolo lay collapsed on the ground, listening to Brawley's undisguised words of contempt and his blatant disregard. His face grew even paler, his heart filled with humiliation and despair, yet he couldn't muster even a shred of courage to retort. Ha ha ha. I knew it. Brawley, you really are. Son Goku recovered from his shock, laughed, and quickly stepped forward, placing himself between Brawley and Piccolo, advising Brawley, how about we stop? If you keep fighting, he'll really die. Stop then. Anyway, even if I defeat him, there's nothing to be proud of, it's too unchallenging. Brawley nodded readily, seemingly feeling no sense of accomplishment from crushing Piccolo, but speaking of which, remember to help me find the Dragon Balls. Piccolo. Listening to Brawley's tone, as if dismissing a beggar, and his naked disregard for him, Piccolo instantly felt 1,000,000 points of critical damage, his heart almost collapsing. The great King Piccolo, actually, don't even have the qualifications to make him feel proud. No problem, leave the Dragon Balls to me. Son Goku readily agreed, patting his chest with a reliable smile. This was agreed upon before, and I keep my word. Good. Brawley nodded in satisfaction. Then, as if remembering something else, Brawley fumbled around on himself, pulled out a senzu bean, and without looking, casually tossed it next to the dying Piccolo lying on the ground. Eat it quickly, don't actually die. If you die, Kami will also be finished, and the Dragon Balls will disappear. Then who will I ask my questions to? Piccolo tremblingly used his only remaining good left hand to painstakingly pick up the seemingly ordinary senzu bean. Piccolo no longer cared about dignity or hatred. The instinct for survival made him immediately stuff the senzu bean into his mouth and swallow it whole. After eating the senzu bean, Piccolo's twisted and broken right arm rapidly healed and reconnected at a visible speed. The bone fragments retracted, the wound disappeared, and even his depleted stamina and ki instantly returned to their peak state. The miraculous effect of the senzu bean was fully displayed. Clap. Piccolo, whose injuries were healed, showed no hesitation or gratitude. He didn't even dare to look at Brawly. His ki erupted, and he instantly shot into the sky, like a startled rabbit, fleeing at top speed without looking back. Now Piccolo just wanted to immediately, instantly, and forever escape this place that brought him endless fear and humiliation. I'll be back. Piccolo, high in the sky, felt a little more at ease as he sensed the distance from the ground. Out of a villain's instinct and unwillingness, he gritted his teeth and left behind a threat that held no deterrent power. Brawly, hearing this, raised an eyebrow slightly, clearly unimpressed by such a defeated dog's distant bark. Then, Brawly casually scanned the ground, bent down, picked up an ordinary pebble, and weighed it in his hand. The next moment, Brawly didn't even aim much, he just casually tossed it towards the small black dot that was Piccolo high in the sky. Whoosh! The stone instantly broke the sound barrier, carrying a piercing whistle, and disappeared into the sky at a speed faster than the eye could follow. Ah! Immediately after, Piccolo's short, shrill scream came from the distant sky, apparently struck by that ordinary stone. Then, the small black dot disappeared even faster, vanishing completely into the clear blue sky in the blink of an eye. The scene once again fell into a deathly silence. Everyone's minds involuntarily replayed the series of impactful moments they had just witnessed. King Piccolo, whom Son Goku had struggled to suppress and defeat after an arduous battle, was, at Brawly's hands, like an adult hitting a child, slapped back into his original form with one palm, and then scared into fleeing in a panic by a casually thrown stone. This difference in strength is too great, isn't it? So great that it made people feel despair, yet also carried an absurd sense of unreality. After a long while, Tien Shinhan slowly recovered from the shock. He leaned towards Master Roshi, who also looked thoughtful, and whispered, asking the question on everyone's mind, Master Roshi. I just feel like something isn't right. What? Master Roshi emerged from his complex emotions and looked at Tien Shinhan, puzzled. Brawly, he's so powerful, the energy contained within him should be as vast as an ocean. Tien Shinhan frowned, his three eyes filled with confusion. Why is it that during battle, almost none of us can clearly sense such immense energy within him? He stands there, his ki as calm as an ordinary person. That's what I want to ask too. Krillin also came over, rubbing his bald head, his face full of perplexity. Before, we couldn't sense the strength of ki, so it was normal not to know Brawly's depth. But now, after training, we can basically perceive an opponent's strength through ki. Yet Brawly, he seems to completely block our perception. I'm curious too. Yamcha, standing nearby, also showed a look of deep agreement, stroking his chin thoughtfully. This is too illogical. Exactly. Master Roshi looked at these young people with question marks on their faces, then suddenly laughed heartily, straightened his previously hunched back, and revealed a profound smile. He turned to Son Goku, who was stretching his muscles nearby, and said with a laugh, this shows that your training is far from enough, and your understanding of ki is still superficial. Goku, I'm going to test you on this. What do you think? You seemed to say before that you could feel Brawly was not simple. Hearing Master Roshi's question, Son Goku grinned, showing a look of understanding, and stated his observations and insights, because, Brawly. He seems to only unleash his energy in an instant during battle. Normally, he keeps all his energy deeply contained within his body, not leaking a single bit. It's like putting an ocean into a bottle and tightening the cap, so it's hard for us to sense from the outside how much water is inside. Even I only barely caught a glimpse of the terrifying energy fluctuations within him at the moment he made his move just now. Brawly, is what Goku said correct? Master Roshi nodded in satisfaction, then turned his gaze to Brawly, who was tidying his clothes, and asked with a smile for confirmation. Brawly looked up, glanced at Son Goku, then at the curious crowd, and nodded casually, his tone still calm. That's pretty much it. Bulma stood frozen in place, her beautiful blue eyes fixed on Brawly, as if to deeply imprint his current image in her heart. An indescribable wave, mixed with extreme shock and subtle emotions, violently crashed against her heart. The gentle sunlight fell perfectly on Brawly's dark hair and chiseled profile, adding a rare, mysterious charm to him that was usually unseen. So this is what he looks like when he's serious. Bulma felt her heart inexplicably skip a few beats. She originally thought Goku's pure and powerful aura after training with Kami was already handsome enough. But this Brawly, who usually only knew how to eat and sleep, when he truly displayed his strength, was even more handsome than Goku. That composure of effortlessly crushing everything, a thought that made Bulma herself blush uncontrollably popped into her mind. I must have been blind back then. Bulma's gaze involuntarily, with a hint of resentment, flickered to Yamcha, who was also in shock beside her. To not choose this unpolished but infinitely potential jade right in front of me, why did I get so confused and choose Yamcha, this philandering radish? A clear, sour feeling of regret, like eating an unripe fruit, quietly spread through Bulma's heart. Bulma bit her lips slightly, her gaze complex as she refocused on Brawly. Not just Bulma, but everyone else present, including Krillin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, Master Roshi, and even Kami, who had just regained his physical form, were all as if spellbound, staring blankly at Brawly in the center of the arena, who seemed to have just done something insignificant. What vast, star-sea-like power was hidden beneath his ordinary appearance? This question lingered in everyone's minds. Above the ruins of the arena, another eerie silence fell, broken only by the whispers of the wind stirring up dust. Speaking of which, Brawly. It was the lively Krillin who finally broke the suffocating silence. Krillin edged closer, a sheepish grin on his face mixed with awe and curiosity. He carefully nudged Brawly's ribs with his elbow and whispered, "How much power did you really use against Piccolo this time?" This question voiced the biggest doubt in everyone's hearts. Hard to say. Brawly didn't react much to Krillin's nudge, just habitually raised a hand to scratch his perpetually messy hair, a somewhat calculating, troubled expression on his face. Why is it hard to say? Yamcha, standing nearby, couldn't contain his curiosity and quickly pressed for an answer. He also wanted to know just how big the gap was between himself and this monster. Because. Brawly frowned, seemingly struggling to organize his thoughts, and finally chose to be honest. It's troublesome to calculate, the number is too big. When I fought the old Piccolo before, I probably used 1/10 millionth of my power. Now. He paused, as if sensing his own strength, then gave an uncertain answer. Maybe, not even 100 millionth. Roughly that proportion. Everyone present. Everyone's mouths instantly dropped open, eyes wide, as if they had heard something out of a fairy tale. For a long time, no one could utter a sound, only their own heavy breathing was audible. Before, it was 1/10 millionth of his power. Now, maybe, 100 millionth. This had exceeded the boundaries of their imagination. Their brains were completely unable to process the impact of such enormous numerical concepts. So, Krillin finally found a trace of his voice amidst the extreme shock, his mouth twitching uncontrollably, and he confirmed with a dry voice, "Your power has actually always been increasing. Never stopped. Didn't I tell you already?" Brawly looked at Krillin, a simple smile on his face, and naturally repeated his theory that sounded like a myth. "Every day after I wake up, my power inexplicably increases significantly. I can't even control it, it's quite annoying." Finally, Brawly even shrugged, as if it were a sweet burden. Krillin fell completely silent, lowering his head. For the first time, he deeply doubted the meaning of his years of arduous training. We train ourselves to death, overjoyed by even the slightest improvement, but Brawly just sleeps and his strength skyrockets. Is there any justice in this world? Everyone present once again fell into a collective stupor, like a group of wooden chickens struck by lightning. Before, everyone thought Brawly was just bragging, or making up absurd excuses to cover his laziness, but now, it seems like what Brawly said was all true. Every single word was true. This subversion of their understanding was even harder to accept than seeing Brawly casually swat Piccolo away earlier. I really don't know how powerful you'll eventually become. Krillin looked up at the blue yet seemingly alien sky, letting out a long sigh filled with helplessness. It was a profound awe and bewilderment from the depths of his soul, facing an incomprehensible existence. A terrifying guy like Piccolo wasn't even enough for you to hit once. Yamcha muttered beside him, his face filled with emotion and lingering fear. It seems Goku is probably about the same. Goku. Brawly seemed reminded by Yamcha's words. He turned his head with a smile, his gaze falling upon Son Goku, who had just let out a sigh of relief, a hint of eagerness flickering in his eyes. How about, since we have time now, you and I also give it a try? You promised the champion would fight me. Son Goku. The moment he heard Brawly's invitation, Son Goku's smile instantly froze, and fine cold sweat visibly beaded on his forehead. Son Goku didn't hesitate for a second. As if by reflex, he suddenly tilted his head back towards the sky and shouted with all his might, "Flying Nimbus." Whoosh! As if it had been waiting for a long time, the golden, fluffy flying nimbus streaked across the sky like a golden lightning bolt, precisely stopping in front of Son Goku. Son Goku moved so fast that he almost left afterimages. Son Goku grabbed the still somewhat bewildered Chi-Chi, not even having time for an explanation, and leapt onto the flying nimbus with her in his arms. Everyone. See you later. Chi-Chi and I are going back to get married first. Son Goku stood on the flying nimbus, waving vigorously at the dumbfounded crowd below, forcing out a somewhat hurried and awkward smile, and bid them farewell in a rushed tone. Don't forget to find the Dragon Balls for me. Brawly, however, didn't forget the main task, looking up and shouting a reminder to the departing Son Goku. Don't worry. In 10 days. I'll definitely gather all the Dragon Balls and deliver them to Master Roshi. Son Goku waved his hand in Brawly's direction without looking back, making a solemn promise. That's more like it. Brawly finally nodded in satisfaction. Whoosh! The next second, the flying nimbus, carrying Son Goku and Chi-Chi, burst forth with unprecedented speed, as if fleeing a disaster scene. It instantly transformed into a tiny golden speck in the sky, quickly disappearing without a trace, leaving only a faint trail in the air. Everyone present stared blankly at the sky where Son Goku had vanished, then slowly turned their gaze back to Brawly, who looked innocent and seemed not to have had his fill. Anyone with eyes could see it. Goku wasn't rushing back to get married at all. He was clearly scared away by Brawly. He was scared away by that single phrase, "Give it a try." But it made sense. After all, Piccolo, whose strength was not far from Son Goku's, and even had a slight advantage in some aspects, was easily crushed like paper in front of Brawly. Son Goku wasn't stupid. How could he challenge a monster whose power had no discernible limit at this moment? Not run. Not running would be truly foolish. Brother Tien. Just then, a familiar voice rang out. Xiaosu, whose complexion had returned to a healthy rosy color, was flying back, swaying slightly. Xiaosu landed accurately beside Tien Shinhan. The two embraced excitedly. Xiaosu. Are you alright? Are your injuries all healed? Tien Shinhan was both surprised and delighted, quickly examining Xiaosu up and down with concern. Yes. After treatment at the hospital, I felt much better, so I rushed back immediately. Xiaosu nodded vigorously, his face beaming with the joy of reunion. He then looked with some confusion in the direction Son Goku had left and asked innocently, Why did Goku suddenly leave? He seemed to be in such a hurry. Well, Tien Shinhan's mouth twitched uncontrollably. He wore a complex expression mixing helplessness, amusement, and deep emotion. He patted Xiaosu's shoulder, shook his head with a wry smile. It's a long story. I'll explain it to you slowly later. The twists and shocks involved truly couldn't be explained in just a few words. Brawly. Kami, who had been silently watching, floated seriously in front of Brawly. His eyes were filled with unprecedented solemnity and recognition. He spoke in an extremely sincere tone. With the strength you've displayed and, well, your unique nature, you are fully qualified to become the new Kami of Earth. I hope you will consider becoming my successor and inheriting the position of Kami. Up there, Brawly pointed toward the sky, showing no excitement or honor, but instead directly asked the question he cared about most: is there good food? No. Cammy was stunned by the completely unexpected question. He answered truthfully with a slightly awkward expression: above the lookout, there is only the purest flour and clear water. After all, as Cammy, I usually only need to drink water to sustain life. Then I'm not going, that's boring. Upon hearing this, Brawley immediately shook his head like a rattle drum, resolutely refusing the honor that countless people dreamed of. Delicious food is not a problem. Cammy wasn't giving up and quickly added, I can have Mr. Popo figure out a way to find delicious food from all over the world and send it up to the lookout. Forget it, forget it. Brawley shook his head again, a look of longing on his face. Living on that old man's sea island is much more comfortable. I can feel the sea breeze, bask in the sun, and eat whatever I want. Your heaven sounds very boring, doesn't it? Cammy was momentarily choked into silence. He opened his mouth but found he couldn't refute it. The simple, lazy, and vibrant life Brawley described seemed incompatible with the solemn, dignified, and heavy responsibility of the Cammy position. Looking at Brawley's eyes, which purely sought comfort and delicious food, Cammy knew he couldn't convince him with duty and honor. Oh, right. Brawley seemed unwilling to dwell on the topic of Cammy. As if suddenly remembering something crucial, a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. He quickly looked at Cammy, his tone carrying a rare urgency. Have you heard of the Grand Minister? 3 giant question marks clearly appeared on Cammy's face, as if materialized waves of confusion were rippling above his head. Stunned slightly by Brawley's nonsensical question, Cammy fell into brief contemplation. The Grand Minister. Cammy searched diligently through the long and distant river of his memories but couldn't find any trace related to this title. The Grand Minister. Cammy repeated the name softly, his tone full of uncertainty and inquiry. Which deity is this? I have never heard that name. Finally, Cammy gently shook his head, looking honestly at Brawley, indicating that he truly knew nothing. The expression of anticipation on Brawley's face instantly dimmed, like a candle flame extinguished by the sea breeze, openly revealing his disappointment. Even Cammy, who governs Earth and knows many secrets, doesn't know who the Grand Minister is. Brawley curled his lip and muttered to himself. It seems the only hope can truly only be placed on Shenron. However, a new dilemma immediately arose. Once I gather the Dragon Balls, should I first wish to Shenron for some rare delicacies from the universe, or should I first ask about the whereabouts of this fool Grand Minister? Brawley rubbed his belly, which seemed to be getting empty again. In the end, that inexplicable obsession won out. I'll look for that guy first. I can find food slowly. However, seeing Brawley's unconcealed look of disappointment, Cammy felt a strange reluctance and quickly spoke up. Just judging from the title Grand Minister, it sounds like a deity of considerable status in the god realm, doesn't it? Perhaps, the god of a distant planet. I don't know exactly what he is. Brawley scratched his perpetually messy hair, displaying a rare, slightly confused look of contemplation. It's just a name that suddenly popped into my head, vague and indistinct. I don't know what he looks like, whether he's fat or thin, old or young. You are so insistent on asking about this person. Cammy's curiosity was piqued, and he lowered his voice to ask, what is your goal? Is there some important reason? Cammy truly couldn't understand why Brawley was so preoccupied with someone whose appearance he didn't even know. Hearing this, the confusion on Brawley's face instantly vanished, replaced by a pure, even slightly eager excitement. Then, Brawley grinned, revealing a smile that Cammy found somewhat dangerous. He answered frankly, no special purpose. It's just my subconscious, or rather, an instinct, telling me to find him, and then. He paused. Brawley clenched his right fist and made a grinding motion in the air, his tone resolute. I'm going to pin this person to the ground and thoroughly rub him into the dirt. Cammy's expression froze. He opened his mouth but found his throat seemed to be blocked by something, and he couldn't utter a single word for a long time. A deep sense of sorrow for the Grand Minister, whom he had never met, involuntarily welled up in his heart. This guy called the Grand Minister, whoever he is probably in for terrible luck. To be targeted by a monster like Brawley. What terrible karma must he have accrued? In order to alleviate the awkward atmosphere and quickly satisfy Brawley's curiosity, Cammy hurriedly proposed a feasible solution. Well, Brawley, I know Lord King Yema of the other world. He is one of the supreme deities who manages the life and death of all things and the reincarnation of souls. He has extensive contacts and might have heard of the Grand Minister's name. Should I help you inquire with him? This was the most reliable person Kami could think of within his authority to ask for help. Alright, I'll leave it to you then. Brawley naturally wouldn't object. Having someone help inquire was better than blindly running around like a headless fly. However, I must state this beforehand. Kami pondered for a moment, and his tone became slightly more serious. If even Lord King Yema, who is widely knowledgeable and controls life and death reincarnation, doesn't know this person, then it might truly be difficult to handle. At that point, we might only be able to summon Shenron using the Dragon Balls and ask Shenron directly about this matter. What if even Shenron doesn't know? Brawley seemed naturally inclined to prepare for the worst, suddenly having a wild thought as he blinked and pressed the question. Kami. Cold sweat seeped from Kami's forehead. In that moment, Kami realized he couldn't quite keep up with Brawley's wild and unrestrained line of thinking. Brawley. Is that how you talk to Kami? Master Roshi, who was standing by, couldn't take it anymore. He scolded him irritably, feeling that the kid was too outspoken. Huh. Brawley was stunned by Master Roshi's shout. A confused expression appeared on his face as he retorted, then how should I speak? I'm just asking about all the possibilities. Brawley's eyes were clear, he didn't think he had done anything wrong. Master Roshi was speechless after being asked that. He opened his mouth, then raised a hand to scratch his bald head, momentarily unsure how to explain it to Brawley. Trying to teach this kid social etiquette was like playing a lute to a cow. No matter. Ha 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 ha. Kami was the first to recover from the awkwardness, letting out a hearty laugh. He waved his hand, indicating he didn't mind. Brawley has a straightforward personality, he asks whatever comes to mind, which is good. Don't worry, there's nothing Shenron doesn't know. It is omniscient and omnipotent. I mean, what if? Brawley, however, seemed to have gotten stuck on a single point, still fixated on that, what if? He pressed again, what if Shenron doesn't know either? Then how can it be considered omniscient? Kami. The smile on Kami's face froze again, and he felt his heart twitching slightly. Why is this child so stubborn? Kami took a deep breath, forcibly maintaining his composure as Kami, and repeated in a tone almost as if he were hypnotizing himself, this. I said, Shenron knows everything, omniscient and omnipotent. At the same time, Kami couldn't help but mourn for 3 full seconds in his heart for that unknown being called Grand Minister. How did this guy even get involved with Brawley? Also, why is Brawley's deep consciousness so clearly imprinted with this obsession for this person? Could it be, he dreamed about him one night? The more Kami thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. If that were the case, once Shenron is summoned, Shenron might tell Brawley that it was just a dream and that the Grand Minister doesn't exist. Kami's thoughts drifted for a moment, thinking a bit too much. Alright, then I'll wait for your good news. Seeing Kami so certain, Brawley no longer tangled with the issue. He nodded, placing his hope for the first stop in finding the Grand Minister on Kami and the never-before-met King Yema. Okay, no problem. Kami secretly breathed a sigh of relief and quickly agreed. Then, with a serious expression, he announced, well, with this matter concluded, King Piccolo's threat is temporarily over. I hope that after this defeat, he can truly repent and turn over a new leaf, no longer bringing evil to the world. Everyone, you may disperse. Just then, a small interlude broke the slightly solemn atmosphere. Oh, Brawley. Oolong wiggled his plump body, squeezed next to Brawley, looked up, and asked loudly with a mischievous smile, are you still getting married? Married. Brawley was slightly startled, seemingly having temporarily forgotten this important life event. Didn't you see Goku say he was getting married, and then you also said you wanted to marry Launch? Oolong, fearing no chaos, immediately offered a thoughtful addition, even winking in Launch's direction. Married. When did I say I was marrying Brawley? Blonde Launch's pupils suddenly constricted upon hearing this. With her hands on her hips, she couldn't help but snort, her face full of an arrogant expression that screamed, what's it to me? Not you. Brawley glanced at Blonde Launch, answering very directly. Then, to everyone's astonishment, Brawley unhurriedly pulled out the small bottle containing irritating powder, which was already quite familiar to them, from his pocket. With lightning speed, he brought it under blonde Launch's nose and gently shook it. Achoo! Blonde Launch was caught off guard and immediately let out an incredibly loud sneeze. Along with the sneeze, Launch's golden long hair instantly turned soft blue as if by magic. The unruly look in her eyes quickly faded, replaced by a gentle, watery gaze and a hint of shyness. The gentle and virtuous blue-haired Launch was back. Seeing this heartbreakingly familiar operation, everyone present couldn't help but cover their faces, their expressions complex. It's this Launch you're marrying, all right, but the problem is, can you guarantee she'll never sneeze? If, at some, critical moment, Launch suddenly sneezed and transformed into a rampaging blonde woman, that scene is too beautiful to imagine. This tricky and slightly terrifying question simultaneously surfaced in everyone's minds. Will you marry me? Brawley, seemingly completely oblivious to this technical difficulty, turned to the freshly recovered blue-haired Launch, whose cheeks were still flushed, and with a sunny and direct smile, proposed. Launch looked up, bravely meeting Brawley's gaze. Her cheeks were crimson like a sunset, and she nodded vigorously. Her voice, though soft, was filled with determination and happiness. Great. Since Brawley has decided to get married, everyone here is a witness. Master Roshi's face immediately lit up with a smile. He cast aside his worries, puffed out his chest, and enthusiastically invited everyone present. Don't leave, everyone. Come to my place and attend Brawley and Launch's wedding. Let's have a grand celebration. Everyone had just experienced a life and death battle, and now that there was a joyous occasion to dilute the tense atmosphere, they naturally didn't object. They all smiled and nodded in agreement, genuine smiles of blessing on their faces. Immediately, Bulma displayed the extravagance of the Capsule Corporation's young mistress. She skillfully pulled a capsule from her small bag, pressed the button, and tossed it onto the open ground. Bang! Accompanied by a puff of white smoke, a sleek, stylish large jet helicopter appeared before everyone. The rotors had already begun to turn slowly, emitting a low hum. Everyone present, including Master Roshi, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien Shinhan, Xiaosu, Bulma, Oolong, Puar, Yajirobe, as well as the bride Launch and groom Brawley, successively boarded this modern mode of transportation. Cammy also entered the cabin. Mr. Referee, you come along too. Master Roshi enthusiastically waved to the martial arts tournament referee, who was still standing in the ruins, looking a bit at a loss. You're experienced, so you'd be perfect to officiate the wedding for this new couple. Referee. A complex expression of brief hesitation and flattered surprise appeared on the referee's face. He looked at this group of eccentric individuals, then at the luxurious helicopter. In the end, his professional ethics and curiosity won out. He nodded and trotted over. No problem. It's my honor. About an hour later. On the boundless, azure sea. Master Roshi's iconic, uniquely styled island villa was bustling with unprecedented excitement. The lingering glow of the setting sun dyed the sea surface golden, coating this special wedding with a warm hue. Everyone gathered on the open sandy area in front of the villa, which Bulma and Launch had simply decorated with tables and chairs moved from inside, adorned with fresh flowers picked from the island. A simple yet warm and joyful wedding was taking place here. Brawley, wearing a slightly large but still decent suit that Master Roshi must have dug up from somewhere, looked a bit constrained, constantly pulling at his collar. Meanwhile, Launch, dressed in a pristine white gown, looked exceptionally beautiful and charming, her face constantly bearing a shy yet blissful smile. Under the slightly nervous but passionate guidance of the officiant, and amid the cheers and blessings of the crowd, Brawley and Launch exchanged vows and placed rings on each other's fingers, which were temporarily crafted from tough island vines and beautiful seashells. Although the wedding ceremony was simple, it was filled with genuine emotion. Speaking of which, shouldn't we try to get Goku over here too? During a break in the ceremony, Krillin looked at the happy scene before him, suddenly remembering something, and suggested to the group, Goku and Chi-Chi should also be having their wedding today, right? Imagine how lively it would be if both couples could celebrate together. Yamcha smiled, looked at Krillin, and raised a practical question. Do you have Goku's contact information? Do you know where he is right now? Krillin scratched his bald head, searched his memory, and finally shook his head helplessly. No. Goku never uses a phone. Hearing this, everyone had no choice but to drop the matter, keeping their blessings in their hearts. The wedding concluded smoothly amidst the noise and blessings. That night, the moonlight was like water, spilling onto the tranquil island. Brawley and Launch, feeling a bit awkward under the teasing and suggestive gazes of the crowd, entered their bridal chamber, which was the second floor of Master Roshi's house. The room where Brawley had always lived, and where Launch had recently moved in. Downstairs, in the living room, Bulma, Yamcha, Oolong, Puar, Tien Shinhan, Xiaosu, Kami, Yahirobi, and even the officiant who had stayed behind, tacitly agreed not to leave immediately. The group sat together, their faces bearing knowing smiles mixed with curiosity, gossip, and a touch of mischief. Ahem. Bulma lightly coughed, a slight blush on her face, but she couldn't help lowering her voice to ask Master Roshi, "Say, old turtle, did you really never teach Brawley about that stuff?" "It's not that I didn't teach him." Master Roshi immediately showed an aggrieved and slightly lewd smile, adjusted his sunglasses, and replied in a low voice, "It's this kid. All he cares about is eating and sleeping, he has absolutely no interest in the affairs between men and women. He won't even glance at my treasured magazines. Brawley has lived with you for so long, he must have seen some shows when watching TV, right?" Bulma continued to speculate, trying to find a source of theoretical knowledge for Brawley. "What if?" Yamcha showed a knowing, wicked grin that all men understood, lowering his voice even further. "Brawley, what if he gets the location wrong because he's inexperienced? Or doesn't know what to do at all?" Cough. Cough. Master Roshi choked on his own saliva, his old face actually turning red for once. He stroked his goatee, revealing the strange smile of an experienced man, and whispered in a profound tone, "Don't worry, there are only 3 crucial spots. If they fumble around, they'll find the right position eventually. It's biological instinct." "Brother Tien, what are the crucial spots?" The innocent Xiaosu, completely unable to understand the adults' riddles, tugged on Tien Shinhan's sleeve and looked up curiously. That. Tien Shinhan's usually serious face instantly flushed crimson, he didn't even know where to look with his third eye. After stammering for a long time, he finally managed to squeeze out, I don't really understand either, just don't ask. There are 3. I thought there was only 1. Even Krillin looked confused, scratching his head as he tried to recall his limited knowledge. He instinctively looked at Yamcha, who seemed the most experienced person present, hoping for an answer. "Don't look at me. I don't know either." Yamcha felt completely uneasy under Krillin's gaze and snapped back irritably in a low voice, his eyes flickering. "Hey, you disgusting men. Can you talk about something normal for once?" Bulma finally lost her patience, her face dark, and she scolded them angrily, feeling her cheeks burning up. The conversation of these guys was simply unbearable. Even Kami, standing nearby, was awkwardly wiping sweat. As for the officiant, he had long since covered his face with his hands, his shoulders slightly shaking, clearly overwhelmed by the conversation of these masters. All right, stop arguing." Master Roshi's lewd smile became even brighter. He put a finger to his lips in a shush gesture, lowered his voice, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Listen closely. Maybe we'll hear some movement. You see, before Brawley went into the room, I saw how clueless he was, so I pulled him aside and urgently explained some, crucial details and precautions." Master Roshi proudly stroked his beard, as if he had accomplished a great mission. Hearing Master Roshi say this, everyone instantly woke up. Their eyes lit up, and they held their breath. Even Bulma couldn't help but perk up her ears. All attention was focused on the closed door upstairs, trying to catch the slightest sound emanating from within. Time passed minute by minute during this extremely focused and slightly perverse eavesdropping. However, 1 minute passed, 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed. Brawley's room upstairs remained completely silent. It was so quiet it was as if no one was inside. Another 2 or 3 hours passed. The moon outside the window had risen high into the sky, and the bright moonlight made the sea shimmer. Inside the room, Brawley and Launch's bedroom was still unusually quiet, without even a whisper or the sound of movement. And now, the time was approaching midnight. Did they, maybe just fall asleep while chatting? Yamcha couldn't help but break the silence, silently wiping non-existent sweat from his brow, his face full of disbelief. How about? Krillin, unable to suppress his fiercely burning soul of gossip, suggested, we send someone to quietly go in and check the situation. After speaking, Krillin himself felt the suggestion was a bit too much and shrank his neck. Going in now. Is that really appropriate? What if we walk in on something? Yamcha said, feigning embarrassment, but his eyes darted to his little sidekick. Puar, turn into a bee or a small fly and sneak through the door crack to check things out. Yes, young Master Yamcha. Puar immediately agreed, spinning in place. With a slight puff of smoke, he instantly transformed into a buzzing little bee. Seeing this, everyone covered their faces, their expressions varied. Some found it amusing, some thought it improper, but more than anything, there was a tacit understanding that it was a brilliant move. They're actually going into peak. Though they thought this, no one actually spoke up to stop it. No need to go. Just as Puar, in his bee form, was about to fly towards the stairs, Kami, who had been sensing something with his eyes closed, suddenly opened them and spoke, his tone calm yet with a hint of understanding. Everyone present immediately focused their gaze on Kami, full of questions. I can sense an extremely faint, yet uniquely distinct energy fluctuation. Kami raised a finger, pointing towards the dark, star-studded night sky outside the window, his gaze seemingly piercing through the roof and into the boundless distance. It's moving at an incredibly fast speed in a very, very distant part of the sky. Upon hearing this, everyone subconsciously looked out at the night sky through the window. However, besides the ink-blue sky and twinkling stars, they saw nothing, and for a moment, they couldn't quite grasp what Kami meant. Brawly and launch. Kami retracted his gaze, looking at the confused crowd, and with a slight smile, revealed the answer. They might no longer be on this island. Left. How did he leave? Krillin was stunned, blurting out, we've been guarding downstairs, we didn't hear the door open. Could it be, he jumped out the window? At this point, Puar, in his bee form, still couldn't contain his curiosity. He buzzed up to the second floor and cautiously squeezed through the door crack into Brawly and Launch's room. Within a few seconds, the little bee hurriedly flew back and, in a puff of smoke, returned to Puar's original form. How was it, Puar? What's the situation inside? Yamcha rushed forward, lowering his voice to inquire. Everyone else also looked at Puar nervously. There's no one in the room. Puar shook his head, an incredible expression on his face. The bed is neatly made, with no signs of having been slept in. Brawly and Launch aren't inside. No one. Did they really jump out the window and run off? The scene immediately erupted into chaos. Forgetting all manners, everyone swarmed up to the second floor and rushed into Brawly and Launch's room. Indeed, the room was empty. The window was closed, but with Brawly's abilities, silently opening and closing a window was not difficult. The sea breeze blew in through the slightly open window crack, rustling the thin curtains, as if narrating the unknown departure that had just occurred. Immediately afterward, the unwilling crowd conducted a thorough search of Master Roshi's small island, calling out Brawly and Launch's names. However, besides the sound of waves crashing against the reefs and the low sigh of the sea breeze, there was no response. Brawly and Launch had vanished as if into thin air, their whereabouts unknown. Strange, where are they? In the middle of the night, where could they go? Yamcha scratched his head, his face full of bewilderment. Eloping on their wedding night. That's just too bizarre. Brawly, he didn't seem to know how to use the sky dancing technique before, did he? Krillin mumbled softly, recalling past events. You guys, is there a possibility? Master Roshi stood on the beach, looking up at the increasingly bright full moon, letting out a soft sigh filled with insight, that Brawly actually learned the sky dancing technique a long time ago, and might even fly better and faster than you, but because of his lazy nature and feeling it wasn't necessary, he just never used it in front of us. Everyone was stunned at first, then they all felt that what Master Roshi said made perfect sense. With Brawly's monstrous, ocean-like energy, learning a basic skill like the sky dancing technique would be child's play. But, tonight's moon is so round. Little Puar looked up at the full moon, shining like a silver disk with its pure radiance, and softly sighed, breaking the brief silence. As soon as these words were uttered, it was like a giant rock thrown into a calm lake. Everyone present, including Master Roshi, Tien Shinhan, Krillin, Yamcha, Bulma, instantly exchanged glances, then all froze, their faces simultaneously showing expressions of suspicion, uncertainty, and even a hint of horror. Master Roshi. Krillin couldn't help but shiver, his voice trembling slightly, as he quickly grabbed Master Roshi's arm and urgently asked, Broly. Broly also has a tail. A tail just like Goku's. Has he never turned into a great ape? This fatal question, which had been overlooked, was sharply brought up at this moment, under the full moon. No. Master Roshi's heart tightened at the sudden question. He tried hard to recall, then gently shook his head, his tone uncertain. At least, in the few years I've lived with him, he never has. That kid always went to bed very early, and didn't seem to have much interest in looking at the moon. When Goku and I first participated in the World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku turned into a great ape when he saw the full moon, lost his mind, and almost caused a disaster. Krillin rubbed his head, trying to recall events from several years ago, his voice growing more anxious. At that time, where was Broly? Did he not look at the moon then? It had been a long time, and the details were a bit blurry. He wasn't there. Yamcha thought with a frown, then slapped his thigh decisively, answering with certainty, I remember it very clearly. Broly said he was hungry and dragged Launch away from the arena early to find something to eat in the city. He perfectly missed the time when the moon was at its fullest. Only then did everyone realize, their hearts settling slightly, but then a new, stronger unease surged within them. I wonder if he can turn into a great ape. If he does, will he lose his mind like Goku did back then, unable to distinguish friend from foe? Krillin's voice was filled with fear, and he couldn't help but break out in a huge cold sweat for one of his best friends and the gentle, kind Launch. If he really turns into a great ape and loses his mind. Bulma shivered slightly, her face instantly drained of color, and her voice became sharp, then Launch. Launch might be in danger. A cold and heavy worry, like a sudden cold snap, instantly swept over everyone present. Thanks for watching.